If you struggle with binge eating, I've got 5 steps that I will run you through that will help you, and you will learn how to stop binge eating and find food freedom. Very, very simple, but at the same time, very profound. Welcome to this new segment of Coach's Corners with Astrid, your APD. Stay to the end of the video, watch the full thing, and I promise you, you won't be disappointed. I see you on the other side.
This is the one that I'm going to really show you and tell you the strategies that you can use to stop binge eating and falling off the wagon. Number 1, decode why you may be using food as coping mechanisms. Why you're using food? Why are you eating? What is causing it? Is it because you're sad? Is it because you're angry? Is it because you're tired? Is it because there is an unmet need that you need to address? So that is very important to bring this awareness and reflect on that. Obviously, you might not come up with these answers unless you talk to someone, a therapist, or maybe you just need to have the support from a coach that can just go and navigate with you through these challenges and barriers that you haven't been able to identify by yourself. That's what I work and I do with my clients all the time. We sit down and we talk about, maybe let's see what is happening. Why do you think you're using food as your way to escape? And we delve deep into that, and then we understand, oh, this is because I have no boundaries, or this is because I just have a this or nothing mentality. I do this because when I am very angry at something or very stressed about something. And this is like an eye-opening and like wow moment where you identify, I know now why, and you understand your main triggers and your reasons. You also want to think about eating regularly. Create a consistent pattern. If you have this in place, especially if you're someone who is skipping breakfast, who is having a very erratic eating, that can really trigger as well binging disorders or binging episodes. Why? Because if you're not eating regularly, you have a very erratic pattern, you may have a point where your body naturally is going to ask for food. And if you haven't been eating well throughout the day or many days, there's going to be a point where your body is going to say, I'm not going to be more gentle anymore. I'm just going to do what I know how to do well. And that's when it triggers all your signals of really increased hunger, appetite is just crazy, and your rationale to make good decisions for food are not really there. So you're going to eat a lot, and probably the most convenient thing that it could be found in the middle of the way, and probably something very rewarding, very highly palatable, and very high in calories, and it's just going to be a little bit of a mess. So to stop binging and falling off the wagon, you have to have breakfast. You can't continue to skip or delay eating your breakfast or your meals, because this can happen. And you want to be consistent. If you're going to pick a specific eating pattern, just do that. Whether it's 2 meals a day, but do it consistently. If it's 3 meals a day, do it consistently. I work with my clients and I suggest them to have at least 3 main meals, even if they don't want to have snacks. Ideally, if you want to add snacks into it, morning and afternoon tea, or snack 1 and 2, then do it, because it is worth to have a plan and a structure. And you're going to thank me later. Third, I want you to work on healing your relationship with food. Stopping putting labels onto good foods and bad foods, clean and dirty food. I want you to be a little bit more flexible and giving yourself permission, unconditional permission to eat. And that doesn't mean just go and eat everything you want every day and whatever you want. Probably the first stage is you might go a little bit crazy, but that's because that's what restriction has been preventing you to do. So when you kind of give yourself permission, the first day, or let's say the first few days, you just go crazy about it. But you know what? Then, because you have the permission to do that, the stress and the restriction that the crazy, ravenous person who was inside you, it was experiencing this restriction, that's no longer the issue to complain about, because Now you can eat it whenever you want, and it's there. It's familiar. It becomes habitual, so it's no longer an issue. It's like, oh, okay, it is there. So you know what? I just don't want it today. I can have it whenever I want, so I probably can eat it later. And you start seeing that. Then you have been weeks and you haven't eaten that, and you don't miss it at all. But if you wanted to have it, there you have it. Learn self-compassion, mindfulness, and self-awareness. And I think this connects with the strategy one of the coding, because it is so important to learn why you feel that way, but also understand you're human. Might not be perfect. Every day is not going to be perfect either. And it's okay if you're not okay. It is okay if you're not feeling your best today. It is okay to let yourself rest. It is okay to be okay to understand whatever you are, at whatever stage you are, and understand that you will get there. And if there are days that aren't going to be great, that's okay too. Mindfulness is so important to make you be present, be intentional, slow down, get deep into your understanding of, I doing this because I want to. I am when you're eating, for example, you're actually there. You're slowing down. You're putting the senses, everything you're eating with your senses, with your eyes, with your smell, with your taste, with your fingers, everything, the touch, feeling the texture, hearing the environment, the silence, or whatever is around you. That's mindfulness. And when you have that mindfulness into your eating, that changes completely the experience of eating to begin with. And the self-awareness skill, again, it comes back to being able to reflect back on what is happening, what are you thinking, how are you feeling, and bring this to light and see, okay, I am feeling this way because of this. And you start learning more about yourself and know better how to respond to those triggers. And last one, think about creating a contingency plan. Choose activities to enjoy that might help you to redirect you when you are in these situations or in these urges that you feel like you lose the control, everything is out of your power. Now, what you do, you get into this anxious response. You're not thinking, but if you start kind of stopping, understanding what is happening, and that helps you to kind of understand, okay, maybe what I'm feeling is not hunger. I'm just bored, or I am distracted. I am stressed. What are my choices? This is important to know because you want to listen to why is that happening, and really have a plan to redirect you. How do you do that? You can have a list of things that are possibly cognitively and physically engaging. So whether it's reading or singing, but at the same time you're dancing, or maybe you're not in the mood for that, but you can just go for a walk and listen to a podcast, or you might just play with your dog, or you can go and exercise and train. You need to find the activities that you enjoy and that you like, that you can put in place to kind of take you away for a little bit, take your mind to another place out of that trigger or that uncomfortable moment, and bring you back down. So when you face the issue again, or when you kind of rethink it or face it again, maybe you have another perspective. You're in a much different mood, and you probably are much more in control of the situation. And you may say, you know what, I don't really need to use food or binge because I just don't need it. It wasn't the issue in the first place. I wasn't hungry. So I just need to understand what was happening and do what I need to do. And maybe you just need to move on. And another thing I really like to talk about is, and I heard this from Michelle May from the Mindful Eating Cycle, and she really talks about giving names to your binge voice, to restrictive voice, and self-care voice. And this is important because you'll have a binge eating voice that has a specific personality. It tells you to eat because you're stressed, because you're angry, because you just need to do it. The restrictive voice tells you that you shouldn't be eating that because it's full of sugar, or this is bad. And then you are kind of debating what to do. And you start developing much more your self-care voice. And this is the one that you need to train. Talking an inside-out approach when to heal your relationship with foods and stop binge eating by nurturing that self-care voice. Why is that important? Because that one is the compassionate one, the one who's going to validate you, tell you it's okay. It's bringing back that compassion that I was talking about.